Back here on Racing WA TV, we're going to work through these next couple of races. They're going to come up close together. We've got the next at Kalgoorlie, which is 9.5 minutes away, and we've got the next at Port Hedland, Matty French, which is 12 minutes away. So we're going to have a look first and foremost locally here at Kalgoorlie. We'll do as many horses as we can, and then we'll just toss and turn between vision depending on where horses are in the yard. But for now, Matt, just give us your preview here on Dreamtime Gene, because Jefferson Sang takes off 4 kilos for Peter Fernie.
Absolutely, we'll make it work, Scotty. Jefferson Sang, as you mentioned, in the saddle for Peter Fernie, 4 kilos. I think it's going to be a real sign of intent to try and lead there and find the front. She simply wasn't able to first up with speeds to Sure Thing engaged, and we've seen that form just be franked earlier on today. 11 to 1400 metres second up is a little bit of an ask, but if any stable can do it, it certainly is Peter Fernie.
Number 2, Kakadu, Gary Bowen, Ava Caterino, who takes off 3 kilos.
Has been able to start putting some consistent runs together, and last start was probably the best of the campaign. Was able to run second down on the minimum in open class company. I think that's a sign he isn't far away from another one. Only comes up 5 kilos for the drop in class, and he maps to settle off this hot speed, I think around 3 back the fence, and from there we'll just need the gaps to appear.
Number 3, So Likeable, for trainer Paul Tapper and Zephyr Johnston Porter, who takes off 1.5 kilos.
Was well beaten by Kakadu in that open race I just mentioned. But with Zephyr engaged, I imagine the tactics will be the same to try and go forward and find the lead as well. We just heard from him saying that's probably what plan A is going to be. He won this grade 3 starts back, and I don't think there's too much between a few of these horses going around here today, and it'll probably come down to who has the best luck in running.
Number 4, Pull the Trigger, Dan and Ben Pearce send the grey up to Kalgoorlie. Tash Faithful is aboard here.
Coming from Ascot Racing, like you've just mentioned, where he's held his own without being too threatening, and the form lines are holding up around him. He's been beaten by Kelvinator twice now, and we saw a Kelvinator come out and win yesterday at Pinjarra. Today, Pull the Trigger, I think he's capable of taking a sit, and from barrier 12, I think Tash's hand is really forced here.
Another travelling galloper is number 5, Never Sober. Ash Maley teams up with Natika Reardon, who takes off 4 kilos.
Never Sober. Ash came to town 7 days ago with him, and racing up on the pace, just faded at the 1700 metres there on the day. Nikita takes the weight off here, and is another one who I'm expecting to go forward from a prominent position. I think she's going to ensure that this is run to a pretty strong staying test here for a sustained effort, rather than a bit of a sprint affair where he probably gets out sprinted.
Number 6, Prize Jewel, Paul Tapper and Chris Nicol.
Prize Jewel for Paul Tapper and Chris Nicol, just as we get some of these horses coming out into the yard. Scotty, was a good effort 2 starts back, when he was able to get third behind Zebedee Springs and No More Dust, and then last start back in distance of the 1200 metres, just wasn't really able to get into it. 5.5 lengths beaten Flober, but as we've just seen, Flober form is holding up, but probably look around him today.
This is our favourite, number 7, Dublin Red, Peter Fernie and Lucy Fiore.
Hasn't put a bad effort this campaign, I thought. Was able to put one away last start when getting over the top of Science Degree and Just Sublime. We saw Science Degree just go around and only get caught late in the shadows there, and Just Sublime goes around as my best bet of the day in the last here. I did think she had every chance in that race. She now steps up in grade, but I do see a very similar race shape to last start. Barrier 7, I think Lucy goes forward, sits behind a hot pace, peels on straightening, and see what she has to offer.
Number 8, Kalita, Dave Smith looks for a double. Troy Turner does as well.
Yes, and it's another who likes to race forward, but with Troy Turner going on, I think he's probably going to be the one that takes a sit here and let the apprentices go ahead of him. He's been racing well, Kalita, over similar journeys, over similar distances, and happy to watch him here today. It is a great map for her, though. She's been found wanting a few lengths in this grade at her last 3 starts. Just not sure if she's got that real killer blow to get her out on her rivals here today.
Number 9, Lucky Lily returns to Kalgoorlie, where she's done her best work. Peter Fernie trains, Vicky Corver rides, and it's great to see former race caller and part owner Disco Dave Sheehan on course.
Well, hopefully that's a bit of a sign, because I don't mind Lucky Lily here at a little bit of a price after our each-way play in the last. Unfortunately ran 4th for us, but I think she's a bit of an unknown here. As the last 2 starts at Pinjarra, they don't read up great, but it's also been a place at Pinny where you've just had to get that right flow into it and be forward of midfield over the past few weeks. So I'm willing to look around those efforts. You mentioned previous form. We go back to Ascot first up. She ran to 3 lengths within Sona Tyre. I think that form will hold up. I think she goes around here overs, and we can get a nice each-way play.
And Vicky Corver is in the club's colours there today. Number 10, No Dust on Me, Paul Tapper, Scott Giddos.
Probably goes around the right price here for the Tapper yard. Just hasn't been able to make any impression at her last few runs here in Kalgoorlie, and I'll just be happy to watch her go around the old 11-year-old today.
Number 11, Didira, Carey Martin, Lisa Staples.
First up today, and I didn't mind a trial on Monday. It was 4 lengths behind Dreamers Never Die and Caporetto, who is a horse that I do have a bit of time for in much stronger grade than this. Traditionally just needs a little bit of time to work into her campaign, and from the wide draw it might be a little bit too much to ask here today, and I'm never a fan of the Monday trial into the weekend race.
And number 12, Queen Sacrifice, Mack Hall, Keshaw Dhurun.
She really has been running well for the Mack Hall yard this campaign. They come back to where they saw success with her 4 starts ago. She was able to come down here and win a Class 2 for the camp. Her last start at Belmont, it was a pretty handy little race with the likes of Zorbrist and West Coast Express going around that day. I think it's going to need a nice run here for Kesh with the barrier 11 at hand here today. I think he chances his hand. I think he goes forward. That's where she does her best work, but I'm just not sure where he gets in.
All right, what we're going to do here, Matt, we'll look at the market for Kalgoorlie, then we'll follow it up with the market for Port Hedland because their race is right on the back of Kalgoorlie. So we're 4 minutes away from Kalgoorlie, we're 7 minutes away from Port Hedland. So let's start with the market here for Kalgoorlie, and our favourite is Dublin Red. $4.20 into $3.90. Number 1, Dreamtime Gene. Jefferson Zhang looking for his first winner in the saddle. $6 into $4.80. Pull the Trigger is hovered around $6.50 the whole way through betting. $6 out to $9 for the Travelling Queen Sacrifice. $12 into $10 for Lucky Lily. $18 into $12 for Kakadu. A bit of a go there at odds. $13 Kalita. $14 for Never Sober. Never Sober is out from $6 as well, so quite a large drifter. $19 for Prize Jewel. 23 out from 12, So Likeable. 30 to 1 for Didira and 100 to 1 for No Dust on Me. So those are the Kalgoorlie prices 3.5 minutes away from race number 6, the Something Borrowed, Something Blue handicap. And we did see the lovely married couple here on course as well. So then we move to the next at Port Hedland, which is 5 minutes away. Liquor Barons Port Hedland handicap, where Border Control holds favouritism. $4.20 into $3.20. Jackham James $2.80 out to $4. How Pretty is $4.40 out to $4.80. Blazing Passion is a $5.50 chance and has been the whole way through. $5.50 out to $7 for Our Kiwi Princess, 11 to 14 for Compact, and 31 into $18 a go at odds for Protected Action from the very powerful Lee Murray yard. Back here at Kalgoorlie, Matt French's top 4, 2.5 minutes away.
Back at Kalgoorlie, top 4 for me at Kalgoorlie. I like 9, 2, 1 and 7. I really like the each way price we're getting about Lucky Lily. I'll go back to her form here at Kalgoorlie last season, and I think that would hold up in a race of this nature. Drawn a lovely gate, gives Vicky a nice each way chance here to get a double on the program for her. I put the 2 in for second here, Kakadu. I'm not surprised at the market support. I think she's going to need to find the runs throughout on straightening, but she can take them really well, as she's proven time and time again here at the KBRC. 1 in Dreamtime Gene. I'm just not sold she finds the front easily here. And I'm not also sold if she's strong over just that last furlong with the jump up in distance here today, second up. And 7, Dublin Red. I thought it had every mortal chance last start and was able to get the job done. Lucy's going to have to do the exact same again, I think, for it to win here. 9, 2, 1 and 7 in what I probably think is one of the more open races of the day.
9, 2, 1 and 7. We will stick around for a trainer interview at least, hopefully, after this race at Kalgoorlie before we bounce our way across to Port Hedland. But as those races are only 3.5 minutes apart, we'll just play it by ear. At Port Hedland, Matt, while we've got the time, top 4 for Port Hedland.
While we've got the time, the top 4 at Port Hedland, we can see if we can go again here. I've gone Jackham James on top here, the number 1, as I haven't mentioned, but I really hope he finds the leaders back here and doesn't get too far back. If he gets clear air, I think he's a big improver. He's getting an 8.5 kilo weight swing on Border Control. That'll get me most times of the day. 4, Border Control in here for second, was a big first up winner. The weight swings do concern me with some of the other gallopers engaged in this 5th race at Port Hedland. 7 in Protected Action, ran into Simply Rosso twice now and has not been disgraced by one of the more informed gallopers of the Northwest. And 5 in Our Kiwi Princess, was able to run an honest second 7 days ago. Could be a slightly awkward map, but I think Shani will try and kick him out again, and that's where we saw them do their best work last start. 1, 4, 7 and 5, but hoping for Bailey Webster and Colin Haddon, they can get on the board with Jackham James.
All right, these races are close enough to back-to-back. Kalgoorlie into Port Hedland. It's exactly what you'd like on your Sunday afternoon, especially if you're just starting to make your way towards Optus Stadium to watch the West Coast and Geelong game, like local trainer Dave Smith's done after his odds-on pop Sure Thing won earlier in the program. Matt's numbers here at Kalgoorlie, 9, 2, 1 and 7. He's going with Lucky Lily here, returning to the Goldfields, who's a $9.50 chance for Peter Fernie and Vicky Vicky Corver. Vicky Corver is in the club's colours, which is all black with a bit of red in the middle of them. But for all intents and purposes, you'll be looking for black colours aboard Lucky Lily. 9, 2, 1 and 7. Kakadu joins the line, so we join Matt McDermott for the call of race number 6.
Thank you, Scott. About to start the loading process for the third leg of the quaddie. Something borrowed, something blue handicap. In honour of a wedding that had taken place today, nuptials between Thomas and Lily. And congratulations to both. Now Kakadu, Kalida, Dublin Red have gone in. So Likeable moves up. Prize Jewel coming into line. Black jacket for Lucky Lily. The club Didira about to come up. Dreamtime Jean. The grey Pull the Trigger. And waiting on Queen Sacrifice as well. About 4:20, Dublin Red at last look the favourite. Dreamtime Jean at 4:40. And then 6:50 for Pull the Trigger and 9 Lucky Lily. Queen Sacrifice and Keshaw Dhurun come in. And waiting on Didira, Pull the Trigger. Dreamtime Jean, the second favourite. And Jefferson Sang in the saddle, kicking off his riding career today. Teaming up with one of the fancies as Pull the Trigger goes up, and Dreamtime Jean will have the barriers filled. A gilding of 4. About to go up. Moves in now, Dreamtime Jean. Set at the 1400. Stand well. Lights continue to blink away. Ready now. And they're off, away and racing. So Likeable left well. Queen Sacrifice wider route, Never Sober. No Dust on Me is 4th early. Kalida going through on the inside from Lucky Lily. Dreamtime Jean, Dublin Red. Then Kakadu, followed by Prize Jewel, who's back with Didira, and Pull the Triggers 1.5 away last past the 1200, about 7 or 8 from the lead. And taking up the front running is So Likeable and joined by Queen Sacrifice, and they lead by 2 lengths. Kalida going up on the inside. No Dust on Me is next, and Lucky Lily wide around 1.5 lengths to Kakadu, midfield from Never Sober and Dreamtime Jean with that pair. 2 lengths further back to Didira, Prize Jewel, and then Dublin Red, and about 2 away is the grey Pull the Trigger last to swing down the side. Inside the 600, and it's So Likeable leading. So Likeable from Queen Sacrifice, and then Lucky Lily, followed by Never Sober. No Dust on Me, and back on the inside is Kalida. Then Dublin Red, who's wider out, trying to pick up now from Kakadu away from the rail. Dreamtime Dream, Pull the Trigger getting to the outside. Didira and Prize Jewel, one of the last into the straight as Queen Sacrifice went past So Likeable. Coming through as Kalida from Lucky Lily, wider out Never Sober, and Pull the Triggers, one of the widest here, down inside the 200, finishing well. Queen Sacrifice in front, Pull the Triggers coming after Queen Sacrifice. Queen Sacrifice, Pull the Trigger. Queen Sacrifice held on and beat the grey Pull the Trigger. Might be Kakadu third, Kalida coming through, Prize Jewel over on the inside. Then Didira behind them, further back to Never Sober, Dublin Red, So Likeable, Lucky Lily. Further back, No Dust on Me, and Dreamtime Dream was one of the last ones past the post. Well, another close finish, but a margin for Queen Sacrifice, holding Pull the Trigger, who was trying to haul in Queen Sacrifice in that last 80 or 90, and Kakadu a close-up third. Might have been Kalida in 4th. The winner Queen Sacrifice. Keshaw Dhurun for Mack Hall. Mare's a 5-year-old chestnut. And she's by Power out of Skripchenko. And raced by M Hall. And Mack Hall training with Keshaw Dhurun in the saddle. Last visit to Kalgoorlie in early April was a win. And has made it 2 from 3 at the track with a second. Long head and a long neck. The margin, a long head and a long neck. The interim placings are 12.428. 12.428. 124.9 the time. 124.9. A long head, a long neck. 12.4, 2 and 8. Queen Sacrifice, who jumped well, was up with So Likeable. Vanilla 84.60 exacta, 727.70. The trifecta, the first full return is 3,937.30. 9 and 12 double, 248. Queen Sacrifice winning the Something Borrowed, Something Blue handicap. The last today is for Snap Printing Solutions Kalgoorlie, a late one of number 2. 13 is also out, and the favourite at $2 is Just Sublime. And as advertised, the last today, 4:30 over the 1400 in 21.
Four, 7, 3 and 6 across the line at Port Hedland, and back here live at Kalgoorlie it's 12, 4, 2 and 8. So plenty going on in WA and plenty going on in the life of Mack Hall at the moment. Mack, driving these horses up here today, watching your partner Shani ride at Port Hedland, racing it's just 24/7.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. Yeah, it's good though. I enjoy every minute of it.
Talk to us about this mare, Queen Sacrifice, is the one you paid basically nothing for in the English online.
Yeah, she's been a steal. Yeah, it's turned out to be a steal. She's won 3 for us now, and yeah, no, I couldn't be prouder of the horse. Like, she was real tough today.
And she's winning races at the moment. She's not just running good races anymore.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. And she doesn't run a bad one, which is even better. So she's always earning a check.
And even earlier on today, you brought another one up here today, Pretty Divine, who you scratched yesterday. Great effort in a 70 plus.
Yeah, she was excellent. She measured up to the grade, and probably race wasn't run to suit her either. So if she can draw a barrier here next time, she'll be running the money.
Have you been keeping an eye on the racing today at Port Hedland?
I have already backed her in one, and she's doing a good job.
Congratulations, mate. So are you. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
There's Mack Hall. Keshaw Dhurun's headed across to weigh in, and we'll send Matt French with his roving mic over there to get a word from Keshaw after the victory of Queen Sacrifice. 12, 4, 2 and 8 here, and Queen Sacrifice wins her second race in her last 5 outings. She's going really well.
She certainly is, and we're doing roving, Matt. We can do everything here today. Cash, talk us through the run. And I thought barrier 11, you were going to have to give it a really nice ride, and you just took luck out of the equation and sent her forward.
Yeah, I know my horse. She jumped very fast, and it's not a big issue, the barrier 11, but I trust my horse. She jumped really good. I know, like, inside me probably have a few horses have speed, but I never panic, and probably when I have a look and I'm fully clear to cross and I sit as the leader, she was traveling really good, and yeah, she finished off really good.
There was a wall of horses coming behind you as well. You've got really, as you've just mentioned, faith in the horse. Really strong performance, I thought, to be able to hold those fast finishes off.
Yeah, I feel like our maybe last 50 meter, my horse she's getting tired, but late, but she's still fighting hard. And thanks to Mack Hall, like she bring a little bit like a few horses here, and he support me a lot. And big thanks for him. And yeah.
Well said and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There's Keshaw Dhurun teaming up with Mack Hall, and it's Queen's Sacrifice here at Kalgoorlie. We'll clear these numbers for you here after race number 6 at Kalgoorlie. It's 12, 4, 2 and 8. Queen's Sacrifice, 9, 10, $3 ahead of Pull the Trigger, Kakadu and Kalita back in 4th placing. And across at Port Hedland, it was 4, 7, 3 and 6. Border Control, 2 strong again for Kira Yule and Tim Pike, should I say, ahead of Protected Action, the one that they backed from 31 into 18 for Lee Murray, runs 2nd, Compact 3rd, and How Pretty fades back to run 4th, number 6. So it's 4, 7, 3, 6 at Port Hedland, 12, 4, 2 and 8 at Kalgoorlie. We'll be off for a break and then we'll be back here for the last 2 races.